Over the top, well, that's been one of the topics here at Broadband TV, but managed over the top is a whole other topic. Jared, why don't you kind of enlighten us on C-Spire's plans to harness this beast?
Well, I think what we're doing here at C-Spire is we've realized that over the top is coming. There's no question it's coming. So much so that I think of it as sort of, if you don't react, it's sort of like the dinosaurs playing in the tar pits. And we don't want to be a dinosaur playing in a tar pit. We're ready to evolve and change. And with this evolving and changing world, C-Spire has realized very quickly that we cannot continue to just do things the way we've always done them and the way a traditional cable provider might provide a service. We have to be able to react and to be able to manage and offer those same kind of solutions. And so our goal at C-Spire is to do away with the set-top box. Customers don't like to have to deal with the fees, and we don't like to have to deal with the cost, and we don't like to have to deal with the upgrades. And so to the customer, if we can talk to the customer first, the customer has the advantage of having all the latest and greatest hardware. So if you're an Apple house, you might have an Apple TV. If you're a Roku person, you're going to have a Roku experience, or an Amazon Fire, or you name your favorite device. Then if you're in this over-the-top type world or in this app-centric world, it doesn't really matter what the device is. It's just a streaming platform. It's the full TV experience over those platforms that you're familiar with and used to already.
You're still offering the same kind of channels, though, as well, the same kind of linear and on-demand channels you'd expect from a pay TV service?
Yes. So that's one of the things. It's a full TV experience, but just on a or what we call a customer-owned set-top box. So people don't think of their Roku as a customer-owned set-top box, but that's sort of how we're referring to it, because it's no longer us as a carrier dealing with a piece of hardware that may be 5-6 years old or very antiquated in a consumer's mind. We're now talking about just an app that runs on the hardware that you already have purchased, that you can go to anywhere off the shelf. You can go to Walmart, Best Buy, you name it. We don't really care. It's just you take the pieces of hardware that you like to use in your home already to do this kind of streaming and to be able to get the entertainment services that you want to get, and then we're going to be an application on that. So it'll be the full TV experience.
It sounds like really what the FCC, their objective was with the set-top proposed ruling.
Well, and we didn't do it for the FCC or anything, and it's not related to that, but I think it does play into that pretty well. And that is that, at least at a C-Spire perspective, is we don't want to have to drive the innovation of hardware. We're not an AT&T DirecTV. We're not a Verizon Fios. We're not a Comcast. We can't go and innovate on that kind of hardware the way they can, but we certainly can innovate on applications. And when I say like a DirecTV and those groups, I think even they will be moving towards these kind of platforms eventually. I think everyone's going to be moving towards these platforms, because ultimately Amazon Fire and your Rokus and those guys already innovate on these. They're innovating all the time. Their whole life, their existence is to innovate on those platforms. And so all we have to do is be a great application on that platform.
From an operation standpoint, having all those different devices, interoperability, how do you maintain that? How do you keep up?
Well, part of that is having a great partner on the app side, on the development of that, and making sure that they can work with us, that they have the expertise to already, where they've done this for years, where they've worked on lots of different platforms and lots of different layers there. And of course, good QA processes in place there. But ultimately, there really aren't that many platforms. There's several different flavors of those, but ultimately you're dealing with a few of your key ones, right? You're dealing with Apple, very closed architecture anyway, so it's pretty easy to work with Apple generally in that sense. You're dealing with Roku, which doesn't matter whether you're a Roku 2, a Roku 3, a Roku 4, a Roku stick, it doesn't really matter. It's all pretty much the same platform. And so within that Roku world, and then really, even if you get into the Amazon Fire world, those experiences are very similar. So there's really a few platforms we're really dealing with. And ultimately, the consumers are already used to dealing with those platforms. They're already used to having that, and so it's just an app running on those platforms. And so we're really not talking about trying to support their internet connectivity there or anything else. We're saying we're the TV platform on this.
And so from an engagement standpoint, when you have a whole smattering of apps, how do you make sure that they're using your app, which opens up a whole new world of content?
Well, that's a great question, and it's one of the things that we think is very important in this world, is that in a traditional set-top box world, of course, the traditional TV provider loves that set-top box world because it's a controlled environment. The customer is in the C-Spire environment the whole time, no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And we can do things like possibly add YouTube or Netflix or other things into the set-top box like other providers have done. But really, then you're trying to adjust consumer behavior instead of using consumer behavior for your advantage. And what we're saying is, look, they're already in those platforms. We're going to make such a great application in there that they're going to use us anyway. And if they want to switch off to Netflix, they're already in the platform. So if you're on an Amazon Fire TV and you want to roll over to Netflix, or you want to roll over to Amazon Prime, well, great, you're still in the same platform. And so we're still right there in that interface they're using every day, and we're going to provide a great experience. It's going to be the true linear TV service. It's going to be cloud DVR. It's going to be, all the things that people expect. It's going to be catch-up TV, so you don't have to worry about whether you've DVR'd something if it was a recent show, because chances are we've already got it on a catch-up TV as well. And so to the consumer, it's going to be this great experience where they are already in that platform. They're going to come back to it over and over again, and that's our goal.
So this probably goes without saying, but all the standard things that you need for traditional cable TV, like emergency alert and closed caption, all that stuff, I assume is supported.
Yes, all those things will be part of the platform. Anything that's standard will be part of that. And some of those things are some of the technical challenges that we have to work through in the platform, but those are the things that are just necessary. And it really, to a consumer, other than getting used to a different remote, which maybe they're already used to anyway because they're already using it in their house, there's not going to be a lot of difference there, except for it's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot easier. And when you have a guest room and you don't want to pay for a set-top box that is going to get used once a month, if even that, you don't have to worry about that. You put a $39 stick in there, or maybe you move that stick from another room into that room when you need it.
I assume it also, you're looking at integration directly into the TVs as well, right?
Yeah, so one of the, as you know, there's a great movement now. The Roku TVs, the Android TV, both have really taken off. And so that'll be our focus for now. We probably will not focus on getting into the other proprietary platforms, but I think there's 18 manufacturers that have announced that they're either going to be on Android or Roku TV platform. So it's just a standard television you buy off the shelf, and you're using the Roku platform or the Android platform behind the scenes in their smart interface. So I think Sony now is using Android. So if you're buying a Sony smart TV, that platform behind the scenes is Android, which means we'd work on that platform.
Excellent. So it looks like there's a huge opportunity here. And when will your customers be seeing this?
We expect by the end of this year, by the end of 2016, that we'll be launching a consumer service on this. And one of the things that's most exciting about this is that it just gives us real open view. So now you're not trapped with a set-top box. You're not trapped to a certain type of technology. So when 4K really starts to proliferate, if you have a 4K capable box, we're ready to go. If 8K comes along and you want to get 8K, you don't have to worry about, is C-Spire going to upgrade their box, whatever. Our application is going to be able to support it. You just need to go get your 8K capable Roku at the time.
And I assume it's backward compatible with the boxes you do have out in the field.
It's not, so we'll use a cap and grow strategy. So our current middleware platform will stay the same, and we won't actively go out and work to change those out. And we'll continue to do some things to improve that environment as well in that middleware platform. But anything going forward, our goal is to move towards this new platform.
And assume things like advertising and all your head-end stuff, ad insertion, that sort of thing, it all stays the same, right? I mean,
yeah, there's really no difference in that. It's really, I like to just make it simple and say it's a consumer-owned set-top box. Yeah. So it's really what we're talking about. It's a consumer-owned set-top box. So we're taking that full TV environment and world into that consumer-owned set-top box world, which is your Amazon Fires, your Rokus, your Xbox possibly, or other platforms that are the standard platforms.
Well, Jared, this is very exciting, and congratulations and good luck in the launch.
Thanks again.